Hello, Scorpio. If you've been sensing an unshakable tension whenever you step into your workplace, you're not imagining it. Something beneath the surface is shifting. And though no one has said anything aloud, your inner radar has already picked up on the disturbance. You've always had the gift of feeling what others try to conceal, the unsaid words, the subtle glances, the conversations that go quiet the moment you walk by. And lately, that gift has been stirring. There is a secret, real bando, pulsing and powerful, that is being withheld from you. A truth hidden just out of sight. One that is quietly reshaping the path of your career, your finances, and your emotional stability. It's not just professional curiosity that's being awakened within you, it is your soul's need for clarity. Your spirit's refusal to be excluded from decisions that deeply affect your future. You are a Scorpio. After all, you do not tolerate half-truths, nor do you rest easy when left in the dark. The feeling that something is unfolding behind closed doors, something that should involve you, is not just irritating. It's a violation of your right to be aware, to be prepared, to be powerful in your own life. This isn't about drama or suspicion. It's about instinct, about knowing when energies are moving without your consent, when opportunities may be rerouted, or evaluations whispered in rooms you're not invited into. Someone knows something that you don't. And while they may delay sharing it, whether out of caution, strategy, or fear of your reaction, the clock is ticking. And the longer this secret remains hidden, the more it erodes your peace of mind, your sense of trust, and your readiness to act when the time comes. Scorpio, you are not meant to be an outsider in your own story. You are not built to wait for the truth to find you. You are designed to seek, to pierce through illusion, to reclaim your power by uncovering what lies beneath. So now is not the time to retreat. Now is the time to observe quietly, carefully, to read between the lines of every email, to listen to what is not being said in meetings, to watch for the patterns in people's behavior that reveal more than their words ever could. And when the time is right, and it will be, you will piece the truth together. You will expose what has been hidden, and in doing so, you will restore balance to your world, clarity to your path, and peace to your heart. That persistent unease lingering in your body isn't merely a passing sensation. Scorpio, it is a signal, a spiritual flare sent from the depths of your subconscious, warning you that something crucial has begun shifting in the shadows of your daily environment. You may have tried to dismiss it as stress, or fatigue, or perhaps the natural ebb and flow of workplace dynamics, but the feeling keeps returning uninvited. Unresolved. Insistent. And if you look closely at the signs that have been accumulating in your surroundings, you'll realize this unrest isn't just internal. It's being mirrored in the outer world in subtle but undeniable ways. Conversations that once flowed freely now break apart when you approach, as if your presence disrupts an invisible current of information being exchanged behind guarded smiles. Words falter mid-sentence. Eyes shift to avoid contact, and silence settles into spaces where warmth once lived. You notice meetings being held at odd hours, sometimes without notice. And somehow you were not included, even though your voice, your input, should have been essential. You felt it in the tone of emails that once included you on the thread but now mysteriously omit your name. In the polite but cautious small talk that ends just a little too quickly. In the body language of colleagues who seem to be holding something back. None of these individual moments scream betrayal or alarm on their own. But your soul connects the dots even when your rational mind hesitates. You sense the pattern, the fabric of transparency tearing ever so slightly at the seams. The shift in energy may be invisible to others, but not to you. You've always been attuned to what lies beneath the surface, the motive under the word, the tremble behind the smile, the truth beneath the presentation. And what you're feeling now is not merely exclusion, but the unmistakable tension of secrets forming a wall between you and the full story. This is not about gossip or minor misunderstandings. No, this is something deeper, something structural, something consequential, something that has the potential to alter the trajectory of your professional life in a way that you're not being given the opportunity to prepare for. And that, Scorpio, is what unsettles you most, not the secret itself, but the fact that you are being deliberately left out of it, because at your core, you are not afraid of the truth, no matter how disruptive or uncomfortable it may be. What you fear, if anything, is being kept in the dark about truths that concern your future, your reputation, your path. You don't need to control every detail, but you do need clarity. You do need to know what forces are at play behind the veil so you can decide, with your characteristic precision, how to respond, how to protect, how to position yourself with power and integrity. The longer this unspoken reality remains hidden from you, the more the tension festers in your chest, and you know that the day is coming, sooner than later, when this tension will need to find its release, either through revelation or confrontation. And when that moment comes, you do not want to be blindsided. You want to be ready, emotionally grounded, strategically prepared, and armed with the truth. Because for Scorpio, knowledge is not just power, it is protection. It is survival. It is sovereignty over your own narrative. And perhaps the most unsettling part of all, Scorpio, is not just the sensation that something is being kept from you, but the terrifying open-endedness of what that something could be. Because in the silence, in the pause between the conversations, you're excluded from your mind begins to spin through the possibilities, each one more loaded than the last. What if there is a promotion being discussed, one that should be within your grasp, one that your track record and determination have rightfully earned? But for some reason, your name is not being placed on the table, not because you're unworthy, but because someone else is being positioned ahead of you while you're kept in the dark? Or what if your performance, your projects, the details of your work ethic are being dissected behind closed doors, not in the spirit of growth, but under a microscope held by someone who may not have your best interests at heart, someone who is either too indifferent or too threatened by your power to speak fairly on your behalf? You sense deep in your bones that there is a narrative forming, and your fear is that this narrative is being written without your consent, or worse, with silent edits to erase the truth of who you really are and what you've contributed. There's also the possibility that structural changes are unfolding quietly behind the scenes, decisions that will reshape teams, redefine responsibilities, or eliminate certain roles entirely, decisions that, once finalized, could render your current position uncertain or irrelevant. And yet no one has had the respect or courage to bring this to your attention. You feel it, don't you? That chill in the air when higher-ups walk by? That sudden tension in conversations about the future? That shift in tone when someone mentions the word reorganization? You've been down this road before. You know how transformation begins, not with announcements, but with whispers. And even more alarming is the chance that this secrecy is not passive, that someone within your environment is actively working against you, silently redirecting opportunities away from you, poisoning perception with carefully dropped comments, or withholding critical information that would allow you to defend yourself or rise to meet new challenges. The enemy may not be visible, but their fingerprints are starting to show up in places you never expected. You are not wrong to be wary. You are not overreacting. When the air thickens with things unsaid, Scorpio, it's not just because the room is crowded, it's because truths are being suffocated. And right now, you can feel that something is breathing behind the curtain, something that may shape the next chapter of your career, your identity, your purpose, and you are being asked to wait, to pretend you don't feel the heat of it burning through the walls. But you were not born to be passive. You were not made to stand outside the door of your own destiny. And if someone thinks they can manipulate the outcome by keeping you in the dark, they've forgotten who you are. Because you will find out. You always do come. And when you do, You will not simply react, you will rise. You will restructure. You will reclaim what is rightfully yours. Now that the weight of this unspoken truth presses against your awareness, Scorpio, and you must resist the urge to confront it directly, not yet. Not without clarity. Not before the pieces of the puzzle begin to take shape in your own hands. This is the moment to become quieter. Not louder, more observant. Not reactive. You must begin to study the environment around you the way a panther studies the movement of the forest before it makes its move slow. Still. Invisible yet aware of everything. Pay close attention to how people speak when they think you're not listening. To the way they greet you compared to how they interact with others. To which voices dominate the room and which ones fall silent when certain topics arise. Look for the patterns. Who suddenly becomes overly friendly, who avoids eye contact, who fumbles for words when you enter, as though carrying the weight of something they've been told not to share. These are not just social cues, they are breadcrumbs. And your awareness of them is your greatest weapon right now. You must also become a master of the strategic question, not direct accusations, but casual, almost careless inquiries that disarm the listener, that invite honesty without setting off alarms. Ask how people feel about the future of the department. I mentioned how quiet things seem lately. I wonder aloud if there's been talk of shifts or changes that might affect the team. People often reveal more than they intend when they believe no one suspects anything. And Scorpio, your natural ability to make others feel seen and understood gives you a unique advantage here. You know how to read the pulse of a conversation, when to lean in, when to hold back, when to let silence pull the truth from someone's lips. You do not need force, you only need presence. And the patience to let others walk themselves into revelation. Your charisma is not loud, but magnetic. When used with intention, it becomes a key that opens tightly locked doors. And as the information begins to surface, scattered, incomplete, sometimes just a glance or an odd turn of phrase, do not dismiss it. And keep record of it, whether mentally or in written form. Begin weaving the threads together. Take note of who said what, when, and in what context. These are your clues. And while each may seem insignificant on its own, or together they will reveal the shape of the truth. You were born with a mind that remembers what others forget, and this is the time to use it. Patterns will emerge, connections will become clear, and suddenly, the fog of uncertainty will begin to lift, not because someone gave you the truth, but because you claimed it through intention, through observation, through silent, unwavering determination. Above all, trust your intuition, that sacred instrument within you that has never failed to sound the alarm when something vital was at stake. You may not have proof yet, but you have knowing. You may not see the full picture, but you already feel the outline forming. And that is enough to begin. Use your emotional intelligence not just to detect dishonesty, but to draw people in, to make them feel safe enough to speak without realizing they've spoken too much. Because Scorpio, you are not just here to uncover what's hidden, you are here to understand it, to transform it, and to ensure that no one, no matter how well they scheme, gets to rewrite your story without your consent. The truth is, Scorpio, no matter how composed you may appear on the outside, your spirit will not rest until clarity is restored, not because you seek control for its own sake, but because uncertainty violates the order you instinctively create around you. You are a sign of transformation. But transformation cannot occur in darkness unless you are the one lighting the flame. And right now, that flame is flickering in your chest, reminding you that you are not meant to wait passively for revelations to arrive from someone else's mouth. You are meant to claim them. This is not the time to retreat into silence or to give others the benefit of the doubt while the ground beneath you begins to shift. This is the time to act not recklessly, but intelligently, not loudly, but deliberately, to take each step with the grace of one who knows their power, who sees what others overlook, and who refuses to let anyone else determine the shape of their destiny. You must remember who you are in moments like this. You are not simply another voice in the room. You are the storm behind the silence, the insight behind the eyes that pretend not to see. You are made for depth, for truth, and for transformation born of absolute clarity. And though the process of uncovering what has been hidden may be uncomfortable, even painful at times, it will ultimately return you to yourself sharper, wiser, and more aligned with your own power than ever before. The workplace may feel like a maze right now, filled with shadows and shifting doors. But you, Scorpio, they're the one holding the map, not because it was handed to you, but because you drew it in the dark, line by line, while everyone else thought you were standing still. So no, you will not find peace until the truth comes to light. But once it does, you will not just understand what's been happening behind the scenes, you will understand exactly what you are meant to do next. And in that clarity, your power will return to you in full. Not through force, not through fear, but through the simple, undeniable act of seeing what was hidden and refusing to be moved by anything less than truth. So if you've been feeling that heaviness, that quiet urgency pressing against your chest with every passing day, trust it. This isn't just a mood, a phase, or a fleeting emotion. It's your inner knowing, your Scorpio intuition rising up to guide you through a moment that could define the next chapter of your life. Don't ignore it. Don't wait for permission. Begin paying closer attention. Move with strategy. Speak only when necessary. And most of all, reclaim your rightful place at the center of your own story. Because this time, it isn't about being noticed. It's about knowing. It's about seeing clearly. And once you do, and you won't just uncover a secret, you'll uncover a new level of power within yourself. And that, Scorpio, is when everything begins to shift in your favor. Stay grounded, stay aware, and above all, and stay true to what you feel, because what you feel is real. Until next time, protect your peace, guard your intuition, and never forget, the truth was never outside of you. It was always waiting for you to trust yourself enough to see it.